Well, it's come to this, Elan fans. Garage is an absolute tip. And yeah, this is a reality of doing McDonald's. This is reality of doing work on your cars at home. You know, there's no lift, there's no nothing, and I'm going to have to change the hub in that amount of space. I can't take the car outside for two reasons. That's one, and the stuff it's covered in is the other. Wet. So that's being dealt with tomorrow. But today I'm going to do the hub. I really don't want to, but fuck it. If I'm going through this pain, you can too. You can do too. If I can speak. Yeah, so you're going to have to watch me suffer. Right, there's my tripod. Over there. How do I get over there? With great fucking difficulty. Ugh. Right, I spared you the pleasure of the car getting jacked up, so what we've got to do is take the caliper off, tie that up, and then figure out how this comes off. I'm sure it's all fairly straightforward. I've got new discs, new hub, new bearings, so it's all going to be brand spankers, which will be nice. I am noticing that is getting worse, and if you look up there, it's right above the clutch cable, I think. So I'm going to have to investigate that as well, because yeah, it's just leaking too much oil for it to be socially clear. You know, I can't leave it on people's drives, for example, fucking thing. But yeah, let's crack on with this, get this off, and yeah, see if we can remove the hub. Right. So of course we go to the toolbox. Fucking tools aren't in there, they're in that bastard fucking Porsche. Right. Tools recovered. So what we got on here is probably 9/16s? Is it a 9/16? It's not. 5/8. 5/8. Right. Old spanarium's out. 5/8. That looks really oily, doesn't it? Could be a seal. This was well, you can tell it's brand new. That's very, very mucky. Oh, fucking hell. There's absolutely nothing worse than putting new parts on a car. Only thing fucking well failed. Right. I'm fucking tightening that up, aren't I? You fucking idiot. There we go. Surprising how much easier it comes off when you undo it. start tightening it up again. And if you get the feeling that you should probably not do any work on a certain day. That's fine. So how is this held on? Is it just held on by a little nut? The hub of the nut. Now what I'm hoping is this just pulls off. Right, so one bearing has ejected all the way over me, and then we've got the felt seal with the felt pointing outwards. Inside of the disc doesn't look too bad. Not great, not bad. Need to clean up the hub shaft. Have a look at this. Now, many people have asked me in the past, am I an expert on hub shafts? The answer is no. Hub shaft? This is a hub shaft, isn't it? There's be a little bit of wear there, but I just genuinely, I mean, I don't know, these are like 25 quid, should I just buy a new one? Will it be okay? Now everything that's here, apart from this washer and the bolts holding the disc on, I have brand new. The washer a little bit cleaner. This is the bearing, which feels absolutely fine, but for 20 quid, why wouldn't you change them? And in there should be a bearing race, which again I don't need to remove because I have new ones, but I have read in my research that bearing races are very, very good at being used to push other bearing races in. See, that's been caught on felt seal, which I'll just leave it out with a screwdriver. I wouldn't recommend doing that if you were keeping all of these bits. Yeah, so that faces the disc side, the felt faces the car side. That's the other bearing. Looks to be really nicely packed. So you see the bigger one goes at the back. Sorry, I'm not trying to give a lesson here, anything but, because I'm really not the person to be giving lessons. I'm more saying it in case I forget. I'm just saying the really obvious stuff so I can replay the video back, see what I've done wrong. So what everyone says is you can effectively just drift these out. So seeing as I'm not reusing any of this, let's use it as a practice run. So what I'm going to do is give it 3 or 4 taps at 12, 6, 3, 9 o'clock. I'll just check for movement because I don't know how hard I need to wallop this. Does it need a proper walloping? Is this light going to be in my way? Who knows? Do I actually need a drift and not a fucking flat-headed screwdriver? Do I need to take it down the farm? Base is not quite out yet. There we go. Out he comes. I was about to say which side does go which way, but it should be fairly obvious. Should it? I don't know actually. Well, let's have a look at the other one. Bearing in mind this goes into the race, you would imagine it sits down with the taper facing in. But if the taper faced out, it wouldn't fit in, would it? Hard steel, that hasn't got hardly any witness marks on. Right, and this one, again, just drops in. So the taper's face inwards. I hope someone isn't screaming at the monitor going, "No, you're wrong, you idiot." Yeah, that's coming. Right, there's the big one, sits over there. I'm amazed that hasn't got any marks at all from the screwdriver. And then if you look inside here, I'm not sure what you can see, but there's obviously the retainer that the bearing race sits up against. It's got a couple of grooves, or a couple of slots, grooves, I don't know what the engineering term is. And that's where the, well, I don't really know what goes on within there. But yeah, so what I need to do, undo these, and they are, I'd imagine they'll be halves. It's a 9/16. Oh, don't show me up in front of YouTube. They're not halves. They're 9/16s. They're not 9/16s even. Oh my god, they are 5/8. Well, who would have thought? Now, the more intelligent amongst you may have loosened this disc off while it was attached to the car. However, the intelligence amongst us is not a group I belong to. So I may struggle. Oh. Right, and there's the last one. And off comes the disc. And there is the old dub. This one was actually alright, but I've always told, well, I've never been told, but I always thought, you know, if you're going to change something, change it in a pair. That caliper, it's got to be fucked. It's got to be fucked. Look, it's just grimy. Someone tell me that it's not, but I can't see any of the grime. You know, the shock's not leaking. There's nothing else that would get this wet without getting wet itself. I mean, look at that. Oh, you can't see. Look at that there. Wet. Unless it leaked when I bled the brakes, and that's just the residue. That could be it. I hope that's it. Make my life easier. Anyway, I'm going to cut here, and then I'm going to reappear with grease and hubs and discs. And as if by magic, I have a new disc. Bearings, new felt washer, and a dust cap, which I didn't have before, and a hub. What I don't have is the grease. That's still sat on my coffee table. Because I live on my own and my girlfriend lives in London, I can do shit like that. It's very liberating. Right, so this needs to have the same thread as this one, which it does. So this is indeed the correct hub for this side. Look at this. Oh, lovely. Oh, nice new drive pegs as well. I'm just going to put the spinner on it. Just to check it is indeed the correct side, which it is, and also just to protect that thread. I don't want that getting knocked about by accident, because that's exactly the sort of thing I'll do. I'm going to put the bearings in first, but what you've got to prep the bearings with grease. You got to grease them up. So let's find which side they are. And rather annoyingly, I've run out of bloody rubber gloves. So are these the same size? Yes, they are. Now that sounds like it could be a DPD, man. It's got bits of Porsche for me. So this is the bearing race, which needs to be, it's got an interference fit down into the hub. The best way of doing this is to knock it gently and use the old bearing race to do so. So you put that on there and then just knock it in evenly. Here we go. I'll just try and get it lined up best I can. Give it a few light taps just to initially seat it. Yeah, okay, maybe not. Then check I've got the right end in, so the taper is facing up. This was the last thing out of the car, so I'm sure it can be the first thing, well, last thing out of the hub. Yeah, I think doing something like this, it's very much a case of slow and steady. Wins the race. Haha, did you get that? Well, it should be slow and steady seats the race. Fucking comedian. Really pleased with that. That's gone really well. The only thing that could possibly have gone wrong with that is you can't see any of it. Oh, lovely. I don't know why I've been putting this job off. That was really satisfying. Really enjoyed that. Next step. Let's put this on. these are so beautifully cheap. They're like £13 each. Now, which way on did it go? Ugh. One thing I didn't look at. Well, I can look at the old disc, can't I? It had all of that writing on the inside. So that means it goes on just like that. Don't worry, I will clean it. I just figure it'll be easier to clean once I've got it in its right place. For any of you Kid A fans out there. Oh God. I can't wait till I'm retired. I can just potter around in the garage doing this. It'd be a lovely way to while the days away. I know, why is this not going in? Hang on, we might have hit a problem here. So it appears the last person to put the disc on had stripped the thread in the hub, drilled it out and put a bigger bolt through. Obviously I now have new hubs, so one of the bolts won't fit, and I can't fit the hub without the bolt on because you can't get to it from behind the splash shield. So yeah, I had to stop work here. There was no way of getting, what were they, 3/8 UNF bolts on a Saturday afternoon. So I'll have to wait till next week for them to arrive. So I built up the other hub as much as I could, because I didn't have to take it off because I've got new bits, and then went investigating oil leaks, which was just so much fun. I've taken the pads out just to have a look at the pistons, and you know what I'm seeing there is copper grease that would have been washed away with the brake fluid. I can't see any signs of a leak. I don't know, can anyone else? It all looks pretty good to me. So maybe if I get a finger in there. It's dry. Pistons are dry. I think that is just where I've bled the brakes and, you know, little bits have escaped. But what I'll do is I'll clean it up so it's immaculate, and then we can monitor it and see if it comes back. That seems to be the best way. Right. So a quick clean up, and I've got the pads back in the caliper. That's clean, all the grime's off, so I'll be able to spot if it's coming back. Got the new Castle nut. Now, these are interesting because these are only adjustable. You've got 2 holes, and then you've got, is it 6 or 3, whatever. But either way, the difference between one hole going through a slot and another can result in quite a lot of play in the bearing, more than desired. And obviously you can't have them tight, otherwise the bearings will overheat. The best way apparently is to just put this on a linisher, just take a few fractions off the back when you're tightening it up. But also this one doesn't seem to want to tighten up, so hopefully it's the same size. Or I'm just being an idiot and not getting it on right. I'll find the other one when I tidy up and test it, but I think I'm going to build the other hub up while I've got everything out. Then I'll do a quick tidy up, and we'll get the throttle done, and we'll stick our head under there. Right, both hubs built up as much as I can do for the time being. So, what does that mean? The next exciting job on the list is investigating leakage. Now, that looks fairly suspect, but is it the union or is it something dripping off the sump? I'm going to call that as engine oil. I don't know for sure, but by fact that the sump is really oily, which it is, and the fact that my clutch seems to be working fine, and it hasn't lost any fluid. And also, I would imagine for a clutch to leak that much, you'd have to be using it. And obviously, I haven't touched it in weeks because I've just been pushing the car in and out. So, oh, you see my lambda sensor there. I'm thinking it's a sump, and I am going to give it a clean up and then see if I can nip any of the sump bolts up. Can't even see them on the camera. Where the hell are they? And just see what I can do. So, yeah, I'll bring you back after I've done it, because it's not really cool for filming down here. Right, so immaculate this is not. That bit there, that is the holder for the crank sensor. But I am 99.9% sure the leak's coming from the sump. So the ones that I can get on, I'm just going to nip up, because these are cork gaskets. And hang on, is that a big lump of oil on that one? Could well be. And then what I've got to do this winter is take this off, this cross beam, and turn it into a bolt-on, bolt-off jobby, and then take the anti-roll bar off, and then I can drop the sump. The only question I've got is, I'm sure there'll be some bolts at the back, which will be hard to get because you've got the ship plate on the gearbox. And if there aren't bolts at the back, that's probably why it's fucking leaking. So, yeah, I'll do this mod. It's loads of people do it. It just makes it easier to drop the sump down. And also, if you want to, drop the engine out and lift the car over the top of it. But I'm going to nip these up and just see if any of them are loose-ish, and see where we go. Whoever said working underneath a car wasn't fun was full of shit. This is the best time of my life. But I managed to get the ship plate off. Actually, is it called a ship plate? I've always called it a ship plate. Is it? Obviously, it's not its proper name, but if you look, there are two sump bolts which were relatively loose. So I've nipped those up. And when I say nipped up, I have lightly nipped them. I know you're not going to go nuts on a cork gasket. I found that out the hard way, obviously, as a clutch lay cylinder. So yeah, everything's tight. I'm gonna, well, put it all back together. We'll put this plate back on and then monitor the clutch level. I'm gonna mark it and see if the clutch level's dropping. If it is, I'll get a braided hose. So I should do that anyway. It looks like a really easy change. So yeah, once I've suffered the pain of getting this back together, we'll get the throttle cable done. What joy. Right, oil leak investigating and fixing over. I've bought some cheap things from eBay to hopefully stop me short-circuiting the car. So I'm going to put these on. Well, no throttle cable fixing today, as I've ordered the wrong bloody one. Idiot boy. But I have put these caps on here to make it a bit safer. So I'm going to go and sit down, and I might get motivation to tidy this garage up. But see you tomorrow if you watch the Porsche vid. Bye-bye. And just a garage to clean up, and then we're done for the day. Well, it's not immaculate, but it's a lot tidier. I've just had to pile a few bits because I can't get to the shelving. Can't move the car. But a much happier garage. So can't do any more on the Elan until the new throttle cable arrives or the brake disc bolts arrive. I've still got to make a decision on what to do with the wideband sensor. Am I going to have it wired in? I don't think so, because I think it'd be a distraction. It would stop me from enjoying the car because I'd constantly be worried. So yeah, tomorrow when it's dry, doing some electrical work on the Porsche. The memory seats and wing mirrors don't work, and apparently it's corroded connectors and whatnot. Oh god. And also there's about 13 earth points which someone's recommended that I go and clean which sounds like very wise advice. So yeah, that's me done for today. I'm gonna just do a quick edit and get this online. And yeah, bonsoir.